I'm going to show you how to make this NASA space poster by combining some images, and we're going to do something called non-destructive editing, which means we're going to use things called layer masks and layer adjustment modes. So I'll explain that as I go. So I'm going to give you all the photos that you need to make that. So I'm going to close that out. And this is the first photo that we're going to use. So normally to get rid of the background, we've done different things like erasing the background or just discarding it. I'm going to show you how you can keep the background but make it invisible. So let's start out by selecting the moon. So I'm going to get the elliptical marquee tool, and I'm going to go in the very center of the circle. You just can guess, it doesn't have to be exactly right. Hold the Alt key and the Shift key. When you hold the Alt Shift keys and you drag out, it lets you drag out from the center so you can kind of get a best guess at the edge of the moon. Alright, and don't worry if it doesn't come out exactly on there. As long as you're a little bit inside the moon, that is good enough. And you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move it up or down or side to side a little bit. But don't worry about if it's not all the way to the edge, as long as it's close and not going over into the black area. Okay, so we want to make a layer mask to make this background disappear. So you can go up here and go to Layer, Layer Mask, and I'll show you the differences between all these, but try to remember reveal selection means you want to show what is selected. Okay, so we have the moon selected. That's what we want to show here. So we're going to say reveal selection. Okay, so what it does is the background, you can't see it anymore, but if you go over here to the layers panel, you can see that you now have these two joined boxes here in your layers tab. So what it's doing is wherever there's black, that means it's transparent, and wherever it's white, it's opaque. So like if I were to take the brush and use black, you see it's just erasing. Okay, so it added this black to this layer mask and it erased it. It's still there, but it erased it. I'm going to undo that, and now I'm going to show you what it does when you paint white. So when you paint white, it will let you put some of that background back because it makes it so that it's, it affects the transparency. All right, we don't want that though, but I just wanted to show you the difference. So when you're working on this layer, you could either click on your layer mask or on your actual photo. Okay, and when you have layer mask open, it gives you this window, so it kind of lets you see a little bit, like if you wanted to see what it looked like with your background still, your background's still there, so you can check it there. Or if you wanted it to be a soft edge, if you wanted the moon to look fuzzy, you can do something like that. So leave it on the default setting though for this project. Okay, so I'm going to be giving you all these pictures so you won't have a hard time finding them. So we're going to select all, Control A, copy, Control C, and then we can close that out. And let's go back to our moon picture. Where did it go? Here we go. And then do paste, Control V. All right, we want to pull this layer below the moon. So pull that down. So the space layer. All right, and now we want the space layer to fill up this whole image. So let's do Control T. Whoops, I'm on the wrong layer. We need to go to space, Control T, and then just drag that space background to fill the whole image area. And press Enter. And now let's get the astronaut and copy it on there. So we're going to do Control A to select all, Control C to copy, go over here and paste it in there, and then we're going to pull the astronaut up on top of everything else. Alright, so as you've known in our other projects, we've gone over how to use the quick select tool, so I'm going to use that to select the astronaut. It's not going to do a perfect job, but I'm going to show you how you can use layer masks to finish selecting the object. Don't worry about making a perfect selection here. You're going to be able to clean some of it up in the layer mask. We want to do a layer mask that says reveal selection. So we have the astronaut selected. We want to reveal just the astronaut. All right, and so that's what it looks like, but obviously there was a bunch of stuff in there that I still didn't want. So I'm going to hide the moon for a minute just so I can see this better. And so if we go over here and you click on your layer mask, I'm going to turn it off just a little bit so that I can kind of see the areas that I want to fix. So what I want to do is I want to fill those areas with black where I want to fix it. So I'm going to get a brush. I'm going to make the hardness 100. I'm going to make the size 15. All right, now notice how when I start to paint black on my layer mask, it erases it. So I can just clean up some of those edges that the selected mask didn't do the best job getting. I'm using my bracket keys to make my brush a little different size. Got accidentally erased, so I'm going to put white to put it back because I want this layer to come back and be revealed. All right, and now let's zoom out and see if everything looks better. I can make the density go up to 100, and now I can see if there's any areas I want to fix up. Like this is kind of fuzzy, so maybe I want to take black and paint along the edge. So you can spend time making it more perfect. I'm just going to move on because it would be boring to watch me just keep editing that. All right, so let's move this, Control T. I think when I had it on my poster, I kind of rotated them a little bit by dragging on the corner and then making it a little bit smaller, something like that. And then once again, when you're done transforming, you either press Enter or the check mark at the top. All right, so back to the moon layer. I put this on a different blending option. So instead of normal, I think I had it on luminosity because I thought that gave it kind of a cool effect with the stars in the sky. And then on the astronaut layer, I put it on linear light. Okay, so let's move the astronaut up just a little bit more and make the moon up a little bit more. So I'm going to do Control T and move the moon up here just a tad. All right, now I also want to make the moon kind of look like it's fading, and so it doesn't look like it's just the whole moon. So I'm going to go back to that layer mask on the moon and paint some more black. So I'm going to get a bigger brush again, a pretty big brush. Let's go with, yeah, about 300. Let's do 325 as the brush, and the hardness 0. I want a soft brush. And actually I'm going to make my brush 375. That looks like a pretty good size. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to brush some black right underneath it so I get erased just the end of the moon. Now keep in mind, all these edits that I'm making, they're just, they're called non-destructive because I can always just take my layer mask and delete it. And look, the picture is not changed at all. So that's the cool thing about layer masks is they're non-destructive. They don't permanently change your photo. All right, so let's go in and get that NASA logo too and put it in here. I'll go ahead and copy this. So I'm going to do Control A, Control C, close that out, and I'm going to close out the astronaut picture. I'm going to paste this on here, but this is only going to be filling in the NASA letter, so it's only going to be visible inside the NASA logo. Let me go and open that NASA logo. And it already has the background removed, so I'm going to do Control A to select all, Control C to copy, Control V to paste, Control T to size it down a little bit. I'm going to move it down here at the bottom. And okay, so I want the orangey sky to be filling in just in the NASA letters. So what I have to do is put that on top of the NASA letters, and we're going to make something called a clipping mask. I need to move it on top of the letters. All right, so notice how it's the orange space sky is there and then NASA. So what you have to do is go up to Layer and say Create Clipping Mask. And when you do that, then it's only filling, it gives you this little arrow right there. That means it's only filling in whatever layer is right below it. If I were to put it up here and do a clipping mask, if I go Layer, create clipping mask. Then it fills it in where the astronaut is. So it's wherever, whatever layer it's on top of is where it fills. And when you move it, it breaks the clipping mask. So you got to put it back, layer, create clipping mask. All right, so when you move that orange space background, notice how it's just staying inside the layer that's below it, so inside the NASA. So you can move it however you want. And then I think the last thing I did was I added a non-destructive adjustment layer. So again, I'm going to go to Layer, and I'm going to go up to New Adjustment Layer, and I'm going to pick Vibrance. And just say OK. So what that does is it gives me some options to edit the color of all the layers at once. If I go up here and I pull the vibrance up all the way, then you kind of get these bright colors. Alright, so that's how you can combine different images together to make this NASA poster by using non-destructive forms of editing called layer masks. Don't forget to write your name on the bottom right hand side. Save a PSD Photoshop file for yourself so you can edit it, and save a JPEG, do save as JPEG so you can put it in your Google Slides.